relationship.
Okay, so let's start with that driving force then. Guilt. The sources are super clear that Atesh's actions right now, this excessive mercy he shows Mercan, it's all tied to his conscience, his victim, specifically over blaming her for the Denis poisoning incident.
And this isn't just, some quiet regret he has. The narrator frames this guilt as a huge vulnerability.
Yeah.
Something that can be exploited.
But that's being exploited.
It is. The source material says it flat out, that this conscience will cause trouble for Ateş. He's letting a past mistake dictate his present, and it's self-destructive.
Speaking of testing boundaries, let's talk about the next big point of drama, the introduction of Nezir.
Nezir.
Yeah, so it's confirmed he's Mercan's ex-boyfriend, and she's the one who brought him into the company.
It's the perfect way to make sure the professional conflict always has this undercurrent of personal jealousy. Mercan puts Nezir, and I'm quoting here, right under his nose.
Even though she knows Ateş doesn't like him.
Right. The whole situation is just designed to provoke. And it's made worse by the fact that the relationship is apparently still very good.
Which leads to Nezir driving her home.
And that, of course, angered Ateş. So now the romantic rival is also a professional problem.
And that professional pressure, it immediately hits a boiling point. Mercan tries to get Nezir's contract, saying she needs a copy for the file.
A reasonable enough request on the surface.
But Ateş, as the lawyer, just flat out refuses. Is this just an emotional reaction, though? Or could it be, just standard legal procedure that he's using to his advantage?
I think if it were just standard procedure, his response wouldn't have been so.
Yeah.
Absolute. He immediately shuts her down. He says, I am the lawyer.
Yeah.
That's all about control, not cooperation. He's using his official power to cover for a total lack of personal trust.
And any line he was trying to hold just completely crumbles because the conflict spills over into their domestic life. It gets almost absurd, starting with this bizarre bathroom standoff.
Oh, yeah. She's in the bath for hours. He's waiting.
And he accuses her of not knowing what civilization is.
It's so petty.
Yeah.
But it's deliberate defiance from her.
Yeah.
And his reaction is to just double down on controlling the physical space between them.
Which is when he makes her work at the desk right next to his.
Yep. He rejects her request to use her own room. It's this forced closeness, which is, it's just reciprocal tyranny.
That line about needing handcuffs to keep her nearby, it's pretty jarring.
It is. It really shows how dark this need for control is getting.
And she calls him out on it. She calls him a tyrant.
A tyrant and annoying. Even the secretary says honey and picks up on the shift.
So, okay. To wrap this up for you, the listener, we've seen this arc from guilt to provocation and now this enforced, miserable closeness.
Guilt and control. They define this entire relationship right now.
So that leaves us with a final thought.
Right. And it's a question for you to think about as you watch this all unfold. Ateş is so desperate to control Mercan by keeping her physically close. But is he really trying to control her? Or is the narrative showing us someone so paralyzed by his own conscience that he has to keep the source of his guilt right there in his immediate sight, no matter how much chaos it causes?